than I am. But first and foremost, I wanted to thank you all for coming. I wanted to thank Reverend Annie for the service and Reverend Cameron for honoring my aunt. I wanted to thank you as her community and her friends. I know all about when she came out to the church with her transition. And I know how Mimi stood with her. And I'm so thankful for all of you who remember Mimi as well. Because Aunt Vicki's life was so big that sometimes Mimi gets lost in that 25 years later. You know, and for those of you who didn't know my Aunt Mimi, she was literally joy personified. She was always smiling and just happy and wonderful. And one of the best things about her was that she was able to share that joy with kids who were growing up because she was a teacher. You know? When Aunt Vicki told our family that she was transitioning, she shared it with my dad, her youngest brother. And my parents sat us down at the kitchen table and they said, we have something we need to share with all of you. Me and my sister. And it was a super big deal. We never sit down at the kitchen table to have a talk with our parents, right? And I think I was 14 at the time. And my dad said, you know, we just spoke with Uncle Vic, and Uncle Vic is going to transition to be a woman. And I honestly don't remember how my sister reacted, but I remember the only thing I really had to say about it was, can I call her Aunt Vicki? Right? Instead of just Vicki. And he was like, well, you have to ask her what she wants to be called. So I just decided Aunt Vicki was the correct thing to call her, and that's what we called her. And when I was a little bit older, she also gifted me a lot of books. One sticks out in my mind, and when I was going through her belongings, shortly after she passed, one of the first things I noticed was a book that she had gifted me when I was a teenager. It's got a bright yellow cover, and it's about a pediatrician who moved to the ghettos in Poland to take care of children during the Holocaust. And with that book, she gave me a card, and I didn't even remember that I had used the card as a bookmark, and I've read this book so many times. And when she passed, and my husband, thankfully, had the opportunity to meet her this year, actually in May. And I was showing him the book after she passed, and the card slipped out. And she addressed the card to say, Lauren, when you head out into the world soon, remember your roots, be honest with yourself and others, and speak out for those less fortunate. In other words, be a mensch. Love Aunt Vicki and Aunt Mimi. And to her, me and my sister were her Jewish nieces, right? My mom is Jewish, my dad is Catholic. But she would always relate things back to being a mensch for us, right? And that was so in her belongings, I found a lot of her written work. And this little package of paper here was one thing in particular that she titled Some Words I Choose to Live By, Some Thoughts That Have Sustained Me This Past Year. And I don't know what year this was. It very well might have been the year that Aunt Mimi died. So this thought was hers in particular. There's a lot of quotes in here. But she wrote, Mensch is a German and a Yiddish word meaning literally a human being. In Yiddish, however, it's laden with far deeper, more important meanings. To be a mensch, where I grew up in the Bronx, meant to be a solid, straightforward soul who manifested integrity and empathy. A mensch knows who he or she is honest about his or her own strengths and weakness, and is free of guile and pretense. In her or his dealings with others, a mensch is even-tempered and forgiving and eschews advantage. A mensch values substance over image, long-lasting reputation over short-lived celebrity, and knows the difference. She or he is decent, sincere, mature. God help me to be a mensch. So one of the things that I ask of all of you as you go out into the world and out of my hand is